Hi, everybody, it's Stella, and I want to talk to you about a really important resource that we're going to be looking at in this week's module. It's a documentary, and there are a couple of important things that I want to point out about it. First of all, it's on YouTube, which means, of course, that it can be viewed for free, and it means that if you're logged into your Google account, that if you click on this icon on the top right, then you will be able to see whether you are actually logged into your Google account currently. And any activity that you do inside of YouTube is going to be associated with whichever account is currently logged in. So for example, if you do things like or unlike this movie, or if you post any comments, then it's going to be associated again with whichever account is currently logged in. If it's not logged into your account, then go ahead and sign out and then sign in with your own account if you want to do that. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter whether you're signed in at all for our current purposes. All right, the other thing I wanted to point out is that this movie has proper closed captions on it, so that if you hover over the bottom right side of the playback window, you can see this little CC button, and the CC button allows you to toggle the closed captions on and off. So I encourage you to go ahead and check out whether that actually works for you. So for some of you, it's actually going to increase your comprehension of what's going on. And in that case, go ahead and leave them on. And for some of you, it's actually going to distract you and take away from your ability to process what's going on. And in that case, of course, go ahead and turn that off. And this is something that we're going to be talking about later on in the course when we cover accessibility issues. So there's that. The other thing I wanted to point out as well is that when something has a closed caption ribbon on it, then that means as well that you can scroll down into the More area, and if you click on that, then you'll see there's an option to go and grab the full transcript for the video. And you might want to use the transcript for, I don't know, maybe helping yourself to understand some of what is being said, or some of what's going on. Maybe it'll help you to study with the transcript or that kind of thing. So I just wanted to make you aware that that's there. The other thing I want to point out is that you can go and grab the playback head. So that's the little red dot on the timeline, and you can scrub forward and backward, and you might want to do that if you need to, hear something over again. And I know you probably already know all about this, but I want to point it out now because this movie is actually quite long. It's more than an hour and 40 minutes. So I don't know if you want to watch it all in one sitting. Of course, you're free to watch it, over the span of a couple of days. And so you might want to watch, say, the first, let's say the first 45 minutes, and then stop there, and then return another day and scrub forward to the 45-minute mark, and resume watching it. So there is that. And then I also want to talk about the fact that this documentary, the story, Aaron's story, is actually perfect for us to watch at the beginning of the course, because it contains so many really important themes that we're going to be covering throughout the rest of the course. So not absolutely all of the upcoming themes, but really most of them. So I'm going to fly through some of the topics that come up in Aaron's story, so that just to prepare you for some of what's coming. And then we're going to be returning to these topics later on, and go into more detail with them in upcoming modules. So here are some of the topics. Social networks, peer-to-peer sharing across distributed networks. And this is an important thing actually that comes up in the movie, and you might remember in module 1 that we watched that TED Talk by Tom Standage, who covered this notion as well. So there's this idea of centralized versus distributed information dissemination. So in a centralized model, there is one central individual or authority or machine or server or institution that is disseminating the information to all of the members in this particular community. So there's that versus a distributed model where each member or node inside of a network can send and receive information. So that's an important distinction to make. Then another thing that comes up in the movie is this notion of profit and power issues, especially for profit versus not for profit. There's quite a bit about the law in the movie, including copyright law, and central to the whole story is this idea of free access to digital information. And that includes public domain, the open movement, and Creative Commons. And we'll be talking about all this stuff in next week's module in more detail. All right, then there's privacy, activism, civic engagement, criminal law versus civil law, equality, reputation, sensationalism, the programmers behind the tools. And then finally, this movie is a chance to begin to get to know some really influential, important people in the social media spheres. So I hope that you have fun with it. There's a lot of themes there, but it all comes together in a really interesting, inspiring story that I'm very inspired by anyway, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do.